following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game, this is iRacing. Hello, welcome in. Something new for you tonight as we have two races to go before we crown ourselves a champion in GLSR's Premier Series presented by Mr. Radiator. We are in Bakersfield, California, and a track that honors the former Cup champion Kevin Harvick. His hometown here is Kern County Raceway Park. For the first time in GLSR history, host a race, and not only a regular race, but a playoff race in the Premier Series as we welcome you into this half-mile track on the northern end of California. I am the captain on this Wednesday evening as we get ready for 150 laps of racing in what is the fourth race of 5 in the chase for this championship. And tonight is going to be arguably the biggest wild card in series history. And I'm talking about some 14 seasons of racing in GLSR. This could be the biggest wild card. And I'm not afraid to say that. And that's because talking to the drivers that are getting ready to go out here and race on this track tonight, there's a lot of nerves, maybe a lot of anxiety, if you will, out there on the track tonight, as nobody knows what's going to happen here on this track. All we know is that there's going to be a lot of handling going on in this car and a lot of people driving really hard here. And not only that, but going to be fighting the track a lot here this evening before we go for 150 laps. But a very interesting track, one that replaced Mesa Moran Raceway, which of course hosted Truck Series races back in the mid-1990s to the late 90s and the 2000s. This track was started getting built in 2007, opened up in 2013, and is a half mile. It has progressive banking from 12 to 14 degrees, kind of like the Iowa Speedway, and also like Irwindale. It's a sister track that I think recently closed or is closing. Interesting, though, enough, as you throw the North Wilkesboro part into this racetrack, it actually goes uphill down the back straightaway and downhill on the front straightaway. And the reason for that is they wanted to make the back straightaway visible for those in the grandstands watching racing here. So, very interesting. And another wild card tonight that could play a role is down here on pit road. If you look over to the right, you notice there's no wall on the inside of pit road. It is literally, you're turning left and there's cones that kind of mark where the wall is, I guess, per se, to your pit stall. So that could play an interesting role tonight, I think, for pit stops here this evening. As you see cars out there running laps, I've seen almost every driver at one point in this practice spin out, either off turn 4 or going out of turn 2, and even some cars in the middle of the corners. As this setup very tricky here tonight. Here at this Kern County Raceway Park. So a very interesting one, and one that's going to put on some good short track racing here tonight. And like I said, could play the ultimate wild card and potentially the biggest wild card in series history tonight. And that we'll talk about here right now is because what happened last week as we pull up the point standings, as we wrapped up race number 3 of the chase for the championship. Sam Fontaine, he, of course, leading the points right now. He and Diego Sainz tied with 3 wins. Alex Bryson, Brandon Alphin, Jason Dalton, Stephen Miles, all right there within 6 points, or I'm sorry, 18 points in 6 positions, all separating those drivers. And you go back to the race that happened last week in Las Vegas Motor Speedway and how the tides turned right before the halfway point. Contact between Stephen Miles and Sam Fontaine pretty much ended Miles' night and damaged Fontaine to a point to where he finished 2 laps down off the pace. Or I'm sorry, he did get back on the lead lap, but finished off the pace towards the back of the field. And that brought all of the cars back into this points championship and within 18. So because of that element that happened at Las Vegas last week, and you throw in a short track race tonight, you might have a big old Yahtzee Cup here ready to go and get turned over tonight. And it's going to be very interesting. So we're going to keep an eye on what happens here. And it's another reason why you should go tell your friends to come over and hang out and watch Kern County Raceway Park and some short track racing here for GLSR. Brandon Alphin going to be the first one out here on track. A D-shaped oval, very tight corners, long straightaways. You're going to see straightaway speeds about 140, 130 miles an hour or so, and then corner speeds about mid-80s. A lot of braking getting into the corner there, into the progressive banking. Been told that about halfway up the track is the fastest way around. As Diego Sainz right now is the provisional pole sitter. Brandon Alphin there in second as of right now. Diego, Brandon, Strayer. Now there's Matthew Wheeler jumping up to the 4th position. Telder, 1847, up there P2. Bryson there up to P3. Brian Sutphin completing the lap as Alphin ends up with an 1854. Here's your Talladega winner, Dylan Rosenberg. He's on track. Wheeler ends up 3rd in the end. Diego Sainz still to the pole with Telder now 2nd with a 47. And Rosenberg throws the brakes on, so he's able to reset and complete another lap here on the track. As long as you don't cross that start-finish line, you can reset and start. Now, some series will put strict rules on for qualifying and not allow that whole thing. There's Jason Dalton on track, and now Sam Fontaine. A couple of KGD2 cars as they get out here on track and cross the start-finish line. And I think Dalton liked the way his lap started there. As there's Fontaine right above that white line, brings it off turn 2, down the back straightaway. Into 3 and 4, very interesting looking track. Almost has a little Martinsville to it. The way that these corners work out, very tight. As Fontaine right now 10th fastest after lap 1. And he's in the purple here for lap 2. He's going to bring it off turn 4. And to the start-finish line, Sam Fontaine goes to the pole, 1844, as Rosenberg goes to P5. The top 12 cars have run laps here. Stephen Miles, here he is. Miles, he is definitely very frustrated after what has happened here so far in the playoffs. He has had rough luck all playoff season long, and in last week's race was almost the final straw for him. As him and I actually chatted for a quick minute this week, and I could just tell the frustration in his voice. And that's through text. It wasn't even a talk. It was like a text between each other, and you can definitely see he was frustrated. So he's definitely going to be racing hard tonight. 1848 for Miles. As Cam Ingram, 1938 there on lap number 1. By the way, I should mention before we miss this is Spicy Schemes Hot Laps, which is presented by Spicy Schemes. Sam Barnes doing a fantastic job with some of these paint schemes, and not only that, he's of course a dad, being family man, and taking care of his family and stuff, but always working on those very cool paint schemes that he does. So big shout out to Sam Barnes and Spicy Schemes. Got about 45 seconds to go here, so looks like one car left to go out there on track. Everybody else is going to start from either pit road or start towards the back of the pack. And here he is, Tyler Brewer in the Pro Sim West car. Right off the bottom of the track, out towards the outside wall, across the start-finish line, down to turn 1 right here. Of course, the new update that has come out for iRacing. A lot more features being updated and more... the word I'm looking for is Brewer going to qualify 12th right now as the time hit 0. And we'll talk more about the build here coming up. But first, let's go trackside for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, here we go. First things first, congratulations, Sam Fontaine, winning the Spicy Schemes Hot Laps here tonight at Kern County Raceway Park. Make sure to give Sammy B there another quick mention as we look at the starting grid here. Fontaine, Diego Sainz there, row number 1. Playoff drivers filling out these front 6 rows. Telder, Miles, Wheeler, Rosenberg, Pierce, Bryson, Alfin, Strayer, Ladiseur, Tyler Brewer. Going to start there in the top 6 rows. Row number 7, Ben Pierce, Cam Ingram, Jason Dalton, Brian Sutphin, Sean Peachin, Robert Lukens, and Caleb Fosnot, the 18 starters here tonight at Kern County Raceway Park. There you see the D-shaped oval. Half a mile, 80 degrees, 20% humidity under clear skies. And Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway Park. It is the latest in a season that GLSR has ever hosted a playoff race at a short track. And tonight it is going to determine who will race for the championship next week and who will not, as we go green for the first time in California at Kern County. Of course, our cameras presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com as they race their way into turn 3 and 4. Fontaine trying to clear Diego, but Diego got that run on the stroke. Man, I don't know who led first lap there. Fine battling right there in the outside lane. They're going to clear signs now, or work on signs, I should say, for the second position as Fontaine clears. Stephen Miles up to the 4th position there as Matthew Wheeler their 5th position. Racing side by side. Mentioned the track, the transition, the progressive banking through the corners, 12 to 14 degrees throughout, very wide corners. And I can see the cars go on that white line, especially as the rubber lays down. As I started to discuss before we went to the anthem, the more distinct looking rubber and stuff is now down the track. The lighting is all updated and stuff now on iRacing, but more importantly, the rubber now, according to the drivers, they can see more of the marbles now out there on the track. They got to be very careful because it does take a little bit of time now to get marbles on your tires. Cause some issues to get them cleaned off. So Matt Telder's lost the third position. Stephen Miles going by. So Miles racing hard here. Miles felt last week as caution out for the first time. As we go to the back, one car has gone around Cam Ingram. On lap number 5, front end with some heavy damage. The Houston, Texas driver. As he's going to come to pit road here early. Let's take a look at the caution, see what happens at 5. He's got Sean Beach there behind him. There trying to get around the Strayer. Goes into turn 1 and oh geez, right in front of Peach and into the wall hard. Yeah, I can see the rubber up there at the top part of the track. He just got loose and overcorrected, and Peach kind of sent him up the track there and into the wall for the first time. We have a caution here. Let's take a look at it one more again. Go above that second white line. This Cam is going to come back out on track, but it looks like he is a lap down at least. Sean Peachin now on pit road. Caution's going to really fly pretty quickly here tonight, but appreciate viewers watching tonight. If you're new to the chat, hit that subscribe button. If you're not so new, we appreciate you coming back and hanging out with us tonight. 2 races to go here after this evening. Of course, next week it'll be Auto Club Speedway for the finale. We'll crown a champion. Now, of course, there's not a playoff format here. It's not like we eliminate drivers tonight and like the front 4 go for the championship. It is so close that you could see a amount of drivers in the end racing for a championship next week, depending on how they finish in tonight's race. So that's where it gets interesting on the elimination standpoint, because, yeah, you got some drivers, unfortunately, that are too far back. But in the end tonight, you could see at least, or at most, 6 or 7 drivers still in the running out of 12 to race for a title next week at Auto Club Speedway, though they would need some help, especially the farther down you go. You just never know what can happen. As we come back to the green flag, Fontaine with a huge restart. As Sainz got kind of caught sleeping there a little bit. Telder going to clear him for second in the outside lane, as he's got Dylan Rosenberg there behind him. Telder diving inside here. 2 short track guys right here. But as we've seen plenty of times, Sam Fontaine is tougher to pass than a lot of tests you take. In school especially, there's a couple cars out of shape back here to the back. This is one of those tracks you just want to race the track. Don't worry about racing the other cars here, because if this setup is as loose as it is, one thing you want to do is put yourself in a spot where you wreck yourself or potentially take somebody else with you. Just go out there and race the track. Plenty of laps in this thing, still over 130 laps to go. Telder gets himself a lap lead. He'll clear Fontaine by a 1/10 of a second right now, as here comes Dylan Rosenberg having a great run in the 91 car. Talladega winner from the opener this season. This track on iRacing, you actually have an opportunity to run the dirt too here, as Caleb Fosnan, I believe, had an issue, and he continues on those 17th position. For 4th here. And see Matthew Wheeler there back there with Brandon Alphin. As Brandon going to take the 6th position away. This track is posted so. A&N races, of course, now the ARCA Series as it's called. Owners have done a great job with building this track, and then a couple of new owners came in 2013, took over the track, and that's where eventually Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway Park, 2014 champion, Bakersfield native. Of course, he's not the only driver that's from the Bakersfield area. I think Ron Hornaday Jr., of course, is from that area. He's one that kind of got Harvick started. As off the pace is Ben Pierce. And we got 2 cars in the wall back here. Tyler Brewer and Robert Lukens. We stay green. Pierce was on the apron back here. And Sean Peachin's back here too. Margie going on back here. This track definitely playing hard to handle right now. Gets a little loose to see he was down there on the apron. Brewer got loose up into Robert Lukens back there. We stay green. Let's back here to the battle now for the 9th position. Lucas Strayer, who's on the move inside of Joey Ladasseur, as Tyler Brewer was coming to pit road, but it looks like he is not. So not sure what's going on with the 40 car. He's actually off the pace over here in turn 1. He might have missed pit road, actually, is what he did. Tyler, unfortunately, having a rough night here. Matt Tellner leads by 0.3 of a second. Sam Fontaine second. Diego Sainz, Stephen Miles, Dylan Rosenberg. Your top 5 as of right now. One way that you could see some cars, especially in the long run here, get around this track. You could see them moving in the corner of the track and bring it back to the bottom of the track. Let's go back here to the 7th position as the 10 car, as Alex Bryson on his outside. Oh, he about squeezed him into the wall there, and Alex actually got out of the gas there a little bit. You see Strayer got a little bit of right front damage. Ooh, hold on, Alex. Yeah, hold on, Alex. Do so as Lucas sends it in there into the corner. Joey Ladasseur there behind him. Short track racing right here. Ride with the 10 car here, front straightaway, looking ahead at the front 6 cars as they have started to kind of pull away here. Those tires getting up to 10 now, track starting to rubber in, and one of the new features we mentioned with this track dynamics that have been updated is now the lane around this track might not be the same lane you would use to get around the track. And what I mean by that, as Robert Lukens comes to pit road, is as the track rubbers up more, it's going to move around a little bit. It won't necessarily be the bottom lane or the top lane or anything like that, because the rubber's going to get slicker. It could become, a bottom feeding track. Move up into that second groove, and that could be the faster way around. So you got to kind of search around a little bit, from what I understand. So a really cool feature has been added on here. guys have settled down for a second. Strayer got by Alex Bryson. How about Rosenberg having a great run here in the 5th position right now? Brandon Alfin right there behind him. As caution's going to come out. Well, Wheeler, we just turned the camera away from him, and he goes for a spin over here in turn 3 and 4. And Matthew Wheeler brings out the second caution here, lap 35. Curious to see if we're going to get some pit stops here potentially. Yes, we are. So leaders are coming in. And look at this pit road. We talked about this. The cones are pretty much the pit wall. There's really not any kind of markings. You just gotta kind of look for your pit guy. And put your car in that spot as Telder, first one to the pit stall. As Rosenberg, uh-oh, did he miss pit road? Or misses pit stall? We'll check on that as the race on pit road. Telder gets it over Fontaine. Miles going to be 3rd. Of this track is right there being pit road as we take a look at what happened to the 10 car as Rosenberg comes back to pit road. So must have been a mistake there from the 91 car, costing him track position. Going to the corner, and Strayer tries to send it in there on the 10. The 10 kind of shuts the door on him, and he goes for a spin. Ah, so there's a new too much damage. We're done. Wait a minute, that's not new though. I need a photo of this. Is this like the actual too much damage? We're done? Because that's the that's an old message. You go back to the old days of iRacing, you used to get that a lot in a cup car or in a car. Then they got rid of it. You couldn't really get it unless you tried, or you're an open wheel car. Back straight away. Yeah. I can see there being a little argument there, but I can go ahead and throw that out. That Strayer probably should have waited a little bit there because Wheeler, yeah, he had the angle into the corner, but that's Wheeler's ahead. Unfortunate deal there is we actually are going back to the green, so let's cut back to it as Telder leads him to the green here. Fontaine and Miles going to go side by side for second. Remember last week at Vegas here. Sure, Miles is going to come out racing just as hard as Fontaine was. Let's see, now he backs it out a little bit here, so he's just running his own pace here. Diego signs to his outside. Boxing ring here where Brewers put this photo at. Oh yeah, that's an old Back to the Future right there, boys. Back in the old heyday, probably, I don't know how long they kept it there for. At least 2 or 3 years, I would say. And then about the time, I'd have to say the Gen 6 came out, they got rid of the too much damage were done on a car, except for like the open wheel cars and stuff like that. And instead, your like big damage was, oh, it's caution going to come out. Caution 3 is out in this one for Wheeler, who has gone around over here in turn 4. See the replay of that in a second, but basically when they released that, the biggest thing you could do is have like engine damage for 30 to 40 minutes. That means if we blow a motor, I wonder if we get too much damage, we're done. Oh, that's the previous caution. Let's go to this caution and see what happens to Wheeler. Sean Peachin comes to pit road. back straightaway. Oh, and he just spins her around. That's where we talked about the loose on entry of this car with this setup. And unfortunately, Wheeler brings out the third caution here. I hope you're doing okay. You can tell commitment when you're in a hospital when you watch a stream. I mean, pretty sure there's other things you might want to be doing. I'm just gonna put that out there, but glad you're watching. Hope you're feeling better, or hope whoever's feeling better. And I think now that I'm thinking about this a little more, I might know why you're there. So hope everything goes well. Telder leads here still, lap 45. Nobody really has come to pit road this time around. And Devin Ramsey's life is about to change. Be the best feeling in the world when it's all over with, but then you're going to realize, oh boy. All the best and congrats there. All right, here we go. Telder and Miles bringing them to the green flag. Fontaine and Signs. Alford Strayer up to the 8th position here. As we are about to leave the 1/3 mark already in this race. Creed starting to kind of rise to the top here. They're in that battle for the points. Right up here towards the front is Miles, Signs, Alford, all these guys right here. Fontaine. And thank you to the viewers hanging out here this evening. Appreciate every single one of you, of course. Can't say thank you enough for all the fun that it's been. And we're going to keep rolling here into 2025. And kind of funny as I think about this a little bit more, it's like the date that I returned to iRacing and kind of got back on, it's almost going to be exactly 5 years to the day. Coming up in April. Single file all the way through the field here. There's a couple cautions. I say that now. Here's Jason Dalton underneath of Alex Bryson. Rosenberg in front of them, of course, coming up through the field after what I'm assuming was a little whoopsies coming to pit road. Twice now I've seen somebody go into turn 3 very low entry. This time though, Montezuer does give the room to to Rosenberg. He gives him position. Oh, Strayer into the wall hard. You see the damage to the 41 is there goes Dylan by him. Strayer had a pretty good car earlier. Now all of a sudden is hurt the front end there. Cars off the track here. Tyler Brewer, Caleb Fosnot, and Cam Ingram behind the wall. Let me add a car. Robert Lukens behind the wall. So 4 cars off the track. Everybody else on the lead lap still racing. As here's Strayer and Ladasor battling it out. is going to take that spot away. Oh, and around goes Olfen into the turn 2 wall hard. Brandon Olfen going to tow it back to pit road, but the 21 is hit hard over in turn 2, and a caution waves. And for Brandon, he was one of the drivers within 13 points of the points lead. And that is going to be a big hit for him. I was trying to get you a replay here. Right, here we go. Unfortunately, I think the Energizer Bunny finally had the batteries pulled. Comes off turn 2, and yeah, the back end just swings around and bam, into the inside wall hard. Tough break there for the 21, so his championship hopes pretty much all but up in smoke depending on how the rest of this race goes. But as we know, anything can happen. We'll watch one more time here. Front end must have just gripped and the thing come around on him. Let's show you again the points as we entered tonight for those who just joined us. Look at those top 6 positions. All the way down to Stephen Miles within 18 points right now. And every one of those drivers were sitting up in the top 7. Alex Bryson actually has just come to pit road, and Brandon Olfen, unfortunately, out of the race now. In the bottom part of the grid there, 7 through 12, pretty much all but eliminated. And oh, by the way, there is a best of the rest series. Ben Pierce leading that right now over Jacob Thornton, and he's not here tonight. So Ben Pierce might be in shape here tonight to become the best of the rest here this evening, as he leads that point standings. On board with Towner as we come back to the green flag here. So he gets a pretty good launch down to turn 1. Miles and Fontaine going to go side by side for second. Rosenberg back up to the 5th position now. Otistor up to the 7th spot, so race's intensity going to start to really pick up. And of course, you got that bonus point that's going to be coming to halfway. Let's not forget that here. In about 11 laps, you're going to get the halfway point. And somebody will get a bonus point for leading that lap. First battle's right there. Teammates. 23-2. Otistor's going to pass Dalton as of now. Can Dalton hold him on the outside lane? And they're pretty deep. Racing hard. Sure, not burning their stuff up racing like this. Strayer going to make the dive in on Rosenberg here for position. connoisseur, ended up not being able to get around Dalton. Not only that, up the track he goes. He's going to fall back a couple of positions. Now, one car into the wall. That's Brian Sutphin. As he does a little tank slap off turn 2. You see Bryson trying to roll back up here through the field after running up towards the front. As up here for second, here comes Miles to the inside of Fontaine. Fontaine's not going to change up how he races somebody, depending even after the way that the race might have taken place. Miles probably going to be smart here as he usually is. By side. Nobody's going to give an inch here. This is the way these guys race. As we all know, Fontaine probably the toughest one to pass in 1 mile. Usually one will be patient, but he knows tonight is his only chance to really get himself back closer to the 77 so he can have a chance to hold and hoist that trophy for season 4. He's all but got him clear here. Does he take it? Fontaine's is finding a way to get back to his right rear. And here's the halfway lap, lap 75. These two side by side. Matt Telder has it well in hand. As he'll come through 3 and 4, as Telder will get the halfway lap led. Get himself a bonus point as Miles takes second away from Fontaine. Running in a 4th position. How about this guy, Sean Peachin? Had some damage, was kind of hanging back a little bit, maybe getting the car fixed up, and all of a sudden this 69 car is running 4th. Been on pit road 5 different times already, and probably has a fresh set of tires on his car, which is allowing him to roll up here through the field and take spots away. Surprised to see the guys that are up front right now. The usual suspects as Peachin gets underneath Fontaine, has to hold on to her. Bounce spun her out. Of course, you look at Telder, one that I found over at a short track league a couple of years ago. I would expect him to be fast at a track like this. Anywhere, but he's primarily a short track guy, so he's doing pretty good here. Alton and Sutphin are a couple others. I know I've kind of mentioned the KJD2 team, but even when they were outside the team, they were kind of short track guys and so on and so forth. So Peachin kind of gives a chrome horn there to Fontaine for a second there. I don't know if you saw that in turn 1 and 2. That was interesting. Trying to get around that 77 car. This is by far the best battle right now on the track. Everybody kind of separated out back around the 10th position right now. 4 cautions so far for 15 laps. I look over here on the screen. Everybody, for the most part, pitted at lap 35, except for Sean Peachin, who pitted at 58, gets loose again. Now he's going to lose position to Rosenberg, and here comes Diego Sainz with Lucas Strayer with him. And thank you, viewers, for coming to hang out here tonight. This is to be the last league broadcast of the week. Oh, into the wall goes Peachin now. We'll come back on Monday. I know last week we were trying to do an AI race, had some issues. For a couple of, 1 or 2 of those maybe this weekend. But otherwise, no league racing until Monday's finale for that series at Homestead. As Diego trying to hold off Lucas Strayer now for the 6th position. Lucas going to go by. Rosenberg already with the comeback of the race here after his issue with pit road. Went down pit road a lap later, came out last, and worked his way back into fourth. And we're about to lap number 90. Starting to kind of work his way back in on Miles here. Which is interesting. It's usually Miles who's doing the stalking for Miles. As we know, Steven may be doing more of the putting more of the power down in the early run. He's taking it easy right now too. You never know. He's one that kind of keeps his cards in check, keeps them close by. And only Stephen Miles knows what Stephen Miles is doing right now. On board with the 24 car. As he sees Telder up ahead, 1.2 seconds ahead. Right there behind Miles. So for these guys, their finale next Wednesday night at Auto Club Speedway. We'll have 2 finales next week, Monday at Homestead, Wednesday at Auto Club, and in between that an All-Star race in Talladega, before we take a 2-week vacation for Christmas. And then from that point forward, we'll be 1 night a week until April. And that's why I've been, especially these last couple of weeks, just throwing out thank yous to everybody. I figured I'd go ahead and throw out a quick thank you to Mr. Jim Herrick, of course, from 40 Racewear. On Teller's car there, also on Mr. Ramsey's car, but Devin not here tonight as he has more important things to take care of here this evening. Check out 40racewear.com for awesome shoes and gloves and t-shirts, hats, and so much more. You can even get race results from some of the 40 Racewear team that's out there racing on iRacing. Check out 40racewear.com for more information there. And also the Buddy Mark over at MC Racing downtown. That place all lit up, looking pretty good. And especially looks good when the Captain eSports Network is hanging out there on the screen, watching some great racing while others do some sim racing themselves. But big shout out to Mark. Appreciate everything from his end. And if you ever come to the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, check out MC Racing. Let's go back here to the third position as Rosenberg has caught Fontaine and now trying to get around him. Dylan's going to hope that they run Kern County from now on, basically. As this 91 looking pretty sporty. Willie got into the car there, especially center off, and he clears them. So Fontaine back to fourth now. Fontaine gonna try to get around Rosenberg as they try to catch back up to Stephen Miles there as they're trying to work their way on Telder. Still 1.3 seconds right now as Sean Peach, and all of a sudden this car is kind of falling off a little bit. Burning good on these tires as Strayer is going to go to his inside. Diego Sainz coming behind him here. So far for 15 laps. Some of the drivers, won't mention names, felt that this could be a little bit of a wreck fest tonight, as they're worried about the way the car was driving. But good job of keeping it clean. Peach going to lose a spot now. Diego goes by. But unfortunately, the car's in reverse going backwards with Sean Peachin. And look at Rosenberg. Going to go to second as he passes Stephen Miles for position. What is in the car tonight in that 91? That thing is alive. And here comes Fontaine back to the outside now. Battle side by side. Calder coming up on the lap car there. And Fontaine clears him, so move Miles back to the fourth position. Come back here. See Beechin falling back. Ben Pierce in the 10th position right now in the 02 car. As Pierce looks underneath of Bryson for 9th, so Alex must be struggling a little bit here in that 38, maybe some damage or maybe just unfortunately on that struggle bus right now. Like the one man who's not is the guy who's dominated so far here tonight. Matt Telder in the one car, 38 laps away. Of course, he picked up his first series win earlier this year at the dirt track. When he returned to the trucks at Eldora earlier this season, he went to victory in that race, and now tonight looking for his first oval asphalt win here in GLSR. As, Sean Peachin finally goes around over here in turn 2 with that car and brings the yellow out at 114. And this is going to bring everybody to pit road pretty quickly. As here we go. 4 tires and fuel for all the cars. And race off pit road, going to go to Telder. Rosenberg going to be second. Fontaine, Miles, and Lucas Strayer. Good shape here if he can get a good restart and just pace himself. I mean, the one thing he's worked on doing all season long is establishing that long run, the longevity of a run. I mean, this isn't a straight up 50 lap short track race. 150 laps is a pretty long distance. Got to keep the car in one piece, don't destroy it, not get involved in anybody's actions. He's done a good job of that here so far, as we should come to one to go this time by. Pace car gonna hang a left. 30 laps to go this time by. Anything can happen as they enter the restart zone. Telder with a good jump. Car's almost spinning the tires a little bit here. With potentially Ryan Sutphin and Joey Lanasor, but it looks like they're okay. As Sean Peachin comes to pit road. As we look up here at the 4th, 5th, 6th place position, trying to get around the 24 Stephen Miles. Sutphin has had issues. He has spun around and brought it to pit road, unfortunately, for the 26th, as he will finish out of the race. Can Dylan do anything with this one car? Top 10 cars all on top of each other here. Two-tenths of a second back from Teller to Rosenberg. Fontaine, 4/10 back. Lucas Strayer, 2/10 back. Take a look from the blimp view. You'll see where everybody is, as Lucas Strayer actually just ran the fastest lap of the race here in 18:49. So he's showing what speed he's got in that 41 car right now. Got the tires up to temp. Strayer trying to get around that 77 of Fontaine. Again, thank you, viewers, for coming to hang out here tonight with the Captain eSports Network. Hit the subscribe button if you're not. We appreciate you coming back and hanging out as always. not go away. I keep peeking over to see if Telder's starting to pull away or if Rosenberg is getting closer, but Rosenberg is not going anywhere. He is sitting right on the back bumper of this one car. Telder stays clear of the 21 car now. I don't want to be the one that brings in the luck and that kind of strategy and brings up me here, but last night in the league race, somebody decided to put the Captain Esports Network on their car, and that car went to victory lane. And of course, we all know the KJD2 guys have Captain Esports Network on their car. And here in 20 laps, could it be an interesting, per se, sweep? I have a weird feeling that next week, every single car. Oh, loose goes Diego. That car almost went around. Good save. Pretty sure if Teller goes to victory lane here, then every car might have Captain on it. Laps to go. 11 cars now on the lead lap. Ryan Sutphin, Sean Peachin, they brought their cars here behind the wall, along with Brandon Alford, Robert Winkins, Tyler Brewer, Caleb Fosnot, Cam Ingram. So definitely a little bit of attrition here tonight. About 0.4 of a second. Rosenberg there also 0.4 ahead now of Fontaine and Lucas Strayer, who's actually gone by Stephen Miles for the 5th position. Yeah, you see the cars. Yeah. Rosenberg trying to hold on Fontaine. Telder up to 0.6 of a second. Decided to take a nap. Doesn't take one often. Stays up a little late because you can't go to sleep. 12 laps to go. Everybody fairly close to each other here. Got Alex Bryson up to the 8th position. He's about a second back from Diego. Otherwise, it's less than a second pretty much all the way through the top 10 here. It's Telder just kind of maintaining his distance here from Rosenberg. But as you know, anything can happen. And I'm pretty sure Telder just wants this race to go green all the way through. Down the front straightaway here, and I say down literally as this track goes downhill to turn 1, uphill up the track to turn 3, and I know that's like, wait a minute, I thought that's North Wilkesboro. Believe it or not, this track was set up kind of the same way. The difference being is, or the reason I should say for that being is, when the track was built, they wanted the fans in the grandstands to be able to look over turn or the back straightaway and see the whole track. So, and it's elevated up. Reel in that 91 car. couple of laps. Fontaine going to enter the race at Auto Club Speedway with the points lead. The question going to be how much will he win? Some people right around 20 points back. And by the numbers that we've seen here the last couple of weeks, if, like for instance, tonight 18 guys show up, then you're looking at anybody that's, what, 20th position pretty much on back would be eliminated, or 20 points on back. That's always the tricky part in league racing on iRacing, is you're never going to get, at least it's hard to get a full 43 cars or whoever amount of cars you like to have at a race. So you don't have the full points being spread out amongst each other, so it becomes a lesser number, less cars in the field. So it's going to be interesting to see here. As we come to 4 laps to go. Fontaine really not able to get to Dylan. He tries to get around Rosenberg, who's about 7/10 back of that one car. And Sam's trying to get there, just can't do it. 2 to go. Telder, oh, Rosenberg leaves the bottom open, and Fontaine fills it. Here he comes as the white flag waves. Final lap for Telder. Matt Telder picked up his first series win on the dirt earlier this season. Tonight, he's going to come through 3 and 4 in a dominant effort. Telder gets his first asphalt win in GLSRs. He wins at Kern County. Rosenberg holds on to second. Fontaine, Strayer, Dalton, your top 5. Diego Sainz, Alex Bryson, Stephen Miles ends up 8th, Ben Pierce 9th. And I think there was an issue with Ladisor and Wheeler at the end of this race. Is Teller going to burn it down? And unfortunately, he's out of the points running for the championship, but he will still be able to potentially work himself up to a top 6 finish in the points when it's all said and done, as he does a Polish victory lap here. While he does that, let's what happened here with 23 and 10. Wheeler goes wrecking over here in turn 2. And then Joey Ladisor just figures he's going to finish 10th anyway, so he's just going to pull her down pit road early. That's the way to do it, I guess. Or was he out of fuel or something? Because he left the pits here, so either way. Let's take a look at the final results. Look at that, the top 8 positions, all playoff drivers. As Telder wins it, Rosenberg 2nd, Fontaine 3rd, Strayer and Dalton your top 5. Diego Sainz in 6th, Alex Bryson, Stephen Miles finished in 8th, Ben Pierce 9th, Joey Ladisor going to get a top 10 finish. Matthew Wheeler 11th, Brian Sutphin, Sean Peachin, Brandon Alphin, Robert Lukens All these guys had issues in tonight's race. 16 through 18, Tyler Brewer, Caleb Fosnot, and Cam Ingram. This is the points that entered tonight, by the way, that I'm about to show you guys. So this is not updated yet. I'm sure Brewer's going to work on it really quickly. But I want to show you this so we can kind of go over where everybody was going into tonight and look at where everybody finished. Of course, Diego Sainz with a 5-point disadvantage to Fontaine. Sam finishing third, Diego sixth. So that should be somewhere around 8 or 9 when this night is over with. Alex Bryson unfortunately finished seventh, so one behind Diego, so he'll lose a couple of points and be somewhere in the 15-point direction. Alfin unfortunately looks like he's going to be out, and he'll just be too far back. Jason Dalton finished fifth, and unfortunately he's going to lose 3 or 4 points himself. So, and then Stephen Miles finishing in the 8th position, he's going to be 20 plus points back. So what it comes down to is how many guys show up in the end. It's going to determine who could still win the championship next week or not. But Fontaine has put himself in pretty good shape here after tonight's race here at Kern County, which I hyped up as potentially being one of the biggest wild cards in league history. And, well, we had some wildness, but not as much as I anticipated, so, which is kind of a good thing. And I kind of can say that's a good job on everybody's part there. So let's talk to the top 3 finishers here, starting with Fontaine, who I'm sure is going to be the happiest out of the bunch. Finishing in the 3rd position. Yes, there he is. Sam, obviously a great finish for you tonight. In the 3rd position, I was just talking a little bit about how this potentially could have been one of the more wild cards of a race tonight, and it kind of didn't in the end, which in a way is a good thing because it ended up being some good, clean, fun racing here tonight. But for you kind of set yourself up in that spot that you're looking pretty solid going next week to Auto Club Speedway with a 3rd place finish tonight.
Yeah, things looking good. Was going for a good result tonight, trying to keep the car together more than anything, and maybe having a little buffer before Auto Club because it can be interesting at this place. So I think we achieved that, and we didn't get the win or P2, but we worked for it, and it was fun overall. We raced side by side with Miles for a while, raced side by side with Rosenberg, tried to play with Strayer a little bit and like hold on to him. It was a good race overall. It was fun.
So the obvious question I can't help but think about is we go back to Michigan a couple weeks ago, and we all, well, at least I know, I mean, I've mentioned it every time I do the broadcast, but you and I both know how much the struggle bus has been in Fontaine in your corner at the 2-mile Michigan track. Now we go to a 2-mile Auto Club track, which is the similar track, obviously with a little bit more worn out surface. Is there any kind of like worry that you might come out there and have that struggle that you have in Michigan and hurt you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always part of the deal. No, we just need to have a smart race. Try to not take too much risk. Listen, like last week was a bad deal with Miles, and that sucked. And obviously for him, even more than me. But yeah, we're gonna try to stay out of trouble and just have a decent result, like not pushing the issue. And if we can be in contention for top 5, that would be great. I mean, at the end of the day, like the most fun out of it is to race people and have a full clean race, like and the championship, of course, like it is in your mind, but it's more for fun that we race this league. So gotta hope for the best next week.
Well, great job tonight. Send some shout-outs whoever you like to.
Shout out to Mr. Telder who showed up tonight and stole away the win. No, he got it pretty well, and he did a great race. He was a master on this one tonight, and he really deserved it. Got a couple bad luck in the past, and this win, I'm sure he's gonna really appreciate it. And obviously, shout out to the teammates who showed up. A decent result for the team. Maybe we're gonna have a shot for a team championship at some point next week. Who knows? And Mr. Radiator sponsoring the league for the whole season. So a big shout out to Joey for that. Super cool to have him with us and racing with us too. Is really great, super clean guy. And yeah, thanks to you for the great broadcast that you're doing every week, and we're gonna miss you.
Absolutely, and you're not going to hear the end of this in the treehouse.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we don't hear the end from the dirt race. So imagine two win in the same season. That's gonna be hell, man.
Fair enough. Well, great job tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Sam Fontaine finishing in the 3rd position here this evening. Congratulations to him, as he obviously has kind of set himself up for a championship race next week at Auto Club Speedways. We'll move him down to the KJD2 channel and bring up the guy who
for two,
yeah,
I thought.
what a run he had here tonight.
Oh,
It's-
hey, I was
hi-
abducted.
Hi, Dylan. Yeah, it happens sometimes. It happens quite a bit up here. As Dylan Rosenberg finishes in the 2nd position. Dylan, I got to ask, obviously, was there a little mistake there in the first pit stop, or were you just trying to do the whole short track, starting to back type of thing? The I forget what they call it. All of a sudden in my
Field
head.
inversion?
Yeah, well, not the inversion, but where the pole challenge or whatever. So you start from the front row. I'm going to pit from the top 5, and let me go to the back and see if I can go back to the front again.
The pit mistake. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the one where you drove through pit road.
Yeah, I just totally missed it.
Okay. It happens.
I got the call out from my spotter for 10 to the box, and I'm so used to. I have the Chad Knaus pack, so I get the 10 to the box, 5 to the box, then 3, 2, 1. And for whatever reason, only on that pit stop, I didn't get the 5 to the box from there on. I got 10 to the box, so I was looking, and obviously there's no pit wall here. It's just the traffic cones, and everyone else was starting to fill into the box, and I just drove right past it.
Now, you know darn well you're a dude like I am. You got selective hearing like I do. You probably didn't hear it's what really happened. But
Yeah, you're right.
the question is, did Chad Knaus cuss you out?
No, he gave me words of encouragement, as did my boys at Ace Racing. Caleb was awesome. He helped me keep tabs on what was going on around me. John, later in the race, he had some issues, but he was kind of doing the same. They were just popping me up and trying to keep me in it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know where the pace came from. I did make some changes to the way I approached this race. I did some things with the brake bias and the steering ratio, and it just worked for me. And I was shocked, honestly, at the long run pace I had. I made a conscious effort to not slip the tires, because in practice the track was super sketchy. And as soon as you slid the right rear coming off of 2 or 4, you got it so hot you can never get it back. So I was just being real patient, trying to get through some of the traffic. And about, I don't know, was it like 50-ish laps ago, I passed Fontaine and Miles, and I just had my sights set on Telder. I was starting to gain on him. Then we had that last yellow there, and and then the last restart, it was just all about, again, not trying to abuse the tires, let them get up to temperature, because cold tires were just as bad as overheated tires here, honestly. But let the tires get up to temp, keep the pressure on Telder where I could. But I did make a bit of a mistake at one point off turn 2, and I slid the right rear pretty bad, and I just could never get it back. But honestly, I'm thrilled to be racing up near the front. I will absolutely take a P2 finish. After the last couple weeks, it's been just miserable for me.
Well, hey, you went out there and you earned it tonight, man. Great job tonight. Obviously, I know it's got to be pretty exciting to be able to race, luck or not, whatever you want to say. I mean, you went out there and earned it. I mean, you went from the back to the front after that mistake, and that's got to be something to be satisfied about.
Yeah, I put a lot of effort into what I do, and I know I'm not the best, but we all show up and we want to win the race. And when I was starting to get closer to the front, I started getting the shakes. I'm like, oh my god, like this is really happening. Like, what in the world is going? Like, it's not Daytona, it's not Talladega. Like, we're on the short tracks at Kern County, and I'm doing the thing, and I just couldn't believe it. I don't have words to describe how thrilled I am right now, honestly, because this field is stacked, and top fives, let alone a podium finish, are so hard to come by around here.
So in the suggestion before I let you do your shout-outs in the suggestion box in the channel, is there going to be a Dylan Rosenberg 12-race Kern County schedule?
Yeah, we're going to do the whole season of Kern County. The whole season. We're not going to start at Daytona. We're not going to end in Miami or Auto Club. It's going to be a 12-race schedule of Kern County. We can do day or night and some weather changes throughout, but it's going to be Kern County.
That's funny. Great job. Send some shout-outs.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, shout out to my lovely girlfriend Amanda. I know she's watching, and I know she's very excited. Ace Racing, Sean Peachin, and Caleb Fosnot. They really kept me in the just kept me in the zone, and I was starting to kind of fade there a little bit. I was getting a little worked up, but Caleb especially, he did a real great job of just keeping me calm, keeping me in it, just working me through it, getting through some of the traffic, staying patient. And a big shout out to the league officials. They do a really great job with this league. This is honestly Wednesday nights. I look forward to it every Wednesday. I mean, I just love racing with the guys. Super clean. Shout out to the field for keeping it relatively clean. Actually, I thought with the way practice looked, I thought this race is gonna be a little seedy, but it turned out really well. And a big thanks to you. I'm really glad I got to talk to you on here in your last couple of races here, because I know you've meant a lot to our sim racing community and what we do here, and as well as some other leagues. So big shout out to you as well.
I appreciate that. Great job tonight, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Dylan Rosenberg, second place finish tonight, as he's going to be probably the second most excited person here in the league, behind a guy who goes to victory lane, his first win on an oval, on an asphalt oval. It's Telder goes to victory lane here tonight, and well, you went out there and got yourself two this evening and get yourself your first win on an oval asphalt.
Yeah, this feels good to have a legit one. Obviously, the dirt's catered to just a few of us, so this one feels good too. Not quite as good as the first one, but
when did you know you had a car that was like, okay, this thing is on rails and pretty good?
Probably the first 30 laps, when even Fontaine was like, dude, I can keep up with you, but I don't know that I have enough to get around you. So when Fontaine, who's also a short track guy, tells you that, that's kind of all right, we just need to keep doing what we're doing here, and we got her. Or at least a good shot at it.
Was there ever a time in those last 10 laps you were like, all right, when's something gonna happen?
Oh, constantly. I was watching. I run a track map, and I was watching that more than I was probably watching the windshield.
Map driving, not mirror driving. Well, obviously, I know it's gotta feel pretty good to have a season like you have. I know you're not in the championship running now officially, but to at least made the chase and get yourself 2 wins and still a chance to get a 3rd win. I know that's got to be something that will make you feel good going to next season.
Honestly, my season's done. I'm gonna be on vacation next week, so this was the final one. And oh man, I story time. I was sitting there at work today, driving home, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you're leaving. You're going to do your own thing, and we did all these custom cars for you, which I hope you like mine, by the way. I never really got to ask you about it.
Should have been standing there.
Yeah. So, and I was like, God, I'm never gonna race a Scala broadcast again, probably after tonight.
You never know. That's all I'll say. But because you never know. I mean, we all know. But
yeah. All right, but it's like knowing, going into this, knowing that this is the unofficial official last one that I'm gonna be able to run, knowing I can't run next week. I'm like, God, it'd be great to have one more interview with Scala before we get this done.
Well, you pulled that off, man. Well, great job, obviously. I know you still got a little work to do to get to that 6th spot in points, but got a pretty good cut into it tonight. So great job on that. Send some shout-outs over you like too.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you've done for this league, the broadcast, everything like that. All the good times, all that stuff. We're certainly going to miss you. Got to thank Peachin and Brewer, and Strayer for, like I said, letting me come back. I thought I was done in GLSR. And then, honestly, I got to thank Dalton for, giving me another chance to come back and race with these guys, because, Fontaine's a hell of a teacher, and Joey, Brian, Richard and Jason, they're all and Sam, they're just they're so motivating, while you're in a chat with them when Fontaine's not talking about something completely unrelated. But there's everybody supports everybody, and I'm glad to be a part of that team. I'm glad to be back. Hopefully that means I, got my invite extended to seasons beyond this. So, yeah, I got to thank all them, everybody from the league, and, you once again. I got to say hi to my mom. So,
Way to get the Scott Pruitt in there.
And another victory means another shoey, Scala.
Nice. Well done. It's not just a shoey, it's a Telder shoey.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Well, great job, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Matt Telder going to victory lane for the second time this season. His first oval asphalt win, as he, of course, got the dirt win earlier this season, as he goes to celebrate with a shoey. And I couldn't help but notice something happened towards the end of this race. And an incident up towards the 5th position here. And I think I have the replay to it right here. So we're going to go to it and see if we can find it. Ah, yes, right there. Contact between Dalton and Miles. I saw in chat there was something about it. And let's back it up a little bit here and see what happened. But this was a battle for the 5th position, as Dalton had gotten underneath him. Just some tough racing right there, a little bit of netcode even. And Miles was able to save it, but unfortunately at that point his momentum was killed. Diego went by, and then Alex was able to get a good run off of turn 2 and get around the 24 there. So, unfortunate deal there. So let's really quickly here. I believe the points are probably up to date. So let me run over here and see. It's the Monday League. Yep, looks like we're up to date here. So give me 1 second, and we're gonna get these points updated really quickly and show you what it looks like going to Auto Club here next week. And pretty close to accurate when it comes to the numbers, as we talked about, as Sam Fontaine's going to lead Diego Sainz by 9. Let's get the right photo here real quickly. As we go to Auto Club, Diego Sainz, as mentioned. There's that. And here's your points. Diego, 9 points back. Alex Bryson, 3rd, 14 back. Jason Dalton is going to be about where this question is going to start. Dalton, Miles moves up a spot. Alfin falls to 6th. And then, of course, it comes down to how many people show up. If you get the 18 that you had tonight, then it becomes a 3-horse race for the championship, basically. If you get 20 to 25, then it puts Dalton in there. And if we find a way to get 40, then you can pretty much put all 6 drivers still in the championship running. But we'll have to see how it all works out. As, let's just be honest for a second, it should be probably somewhere 20 to 25 at most. And that 25 is an aggressive number when it comes to my thinking of who's going to show up in the end. So we'll see as we go next week to Auto Club Speedway. Big shout out to Mr. Radiator, of course, the sponsor of the Premier Series. Big shout out to Sean, Tyler, all the admins for allowing me to be a part of these couple seasons. You've heard them mention again about the going away part. Of course, next week the final race for GLSR and for the season, of course, here on the Captain eSports Network altogether. And we're gonna enjoy it from Auto Club Speedway, and we'll put on a good show as always. So we appreciate everybody for hanging out on this Wednesday evening. Again, it's the last league race until Monday again, as we'll have kind of a championship week, as we'll have 2 champions crowned in 2 different leagues. So it should be a fun week to be a part of. So otherwise, we'll be back on Monday. Make a note so you can come back. Otherwise, remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.